And finally, we travelled to Grimsby to interview Dave Hill and Don Powell from Slade. I must thank Len Tuckey, their manager, for setting up this for me. I always wanted to meet Dave and Don, and I'd met them a few times on the road over the years, and I never really got the chance to actually speak to them. So I thought, well, let's ask them if they'll do an interview, thinking they'd say no. And they did. They said yeah, and I thought it was great of them. And Dave and Don, if you ever see this, thanks very much. It was great, and I hope you at home enjoyed this as much as we enjoyed doing it. I hadn't a clue what I was asking them, so I just froze. You know. But it's quite funny. Good interview. Hope you enjoy it. Wrong door. This way. I think it's up here. So you're going to see if we can find it. I'm going to try and interview Dave and Don if they're here. Hiya. Now here we are down the corridor. Slade's dressing room is just here. Dave and Don are ready, and with a bit of luck, we'll get an interview. Or we might get told to go and bugger off. I wanted to ask a few questions to Slade, who are here.
Not personal ones.
No, nothing rude.
No, nice boots. Yeah. You were saying?
After years and years at the top of your profession,
Yeah.
is there any single moment or single couple of moments that will always live with you for the rest of your lives?
Yeah,
Well, there's one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
If Dom doesn't mind me butting in there, but
No.
Reading Festival comes to mind as a single moment that always comes to mind, because it was a unique festival in 1980,
Right.
and I was leading the band at the time because we were going to break up. See, and due to us playing that festival, which was by default because Ozzy Osbourne was to do it, and he pulled out and he wasn't ready for it, and we were offered the job, and it was going to be our last show together, and we went and did this show. Tommy Vance was there, all the DJs from Radio 1 were there, huge audience, fantastic sound, and we had this mega show which I didn't expect, and 6 months later we had a hit record which was We'll Bring the House Down.
Great.
The rest is history. It brought us back into the scene.
I remember the album, that was fantastic.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
And I have to say, that was one magic moment. I know Don's got one.
No.
No, right.
No. Yeah, can you remember the very first time you ever heard the completed Merry Christmas, and at that moment did you think it had become the all-time classic?
Right, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, well, because I don't know if anybody knows this story, because Merry Christmas was recorded in '73, and we were on a world tour, and we were in New York at the time, in the summer of '73,
Right.
and it was over 100 degrees outside, and that's when we recorded Merry Christmas.
Right.
The heat wave, and that's when we recorded that song.
So you recorded a Christmas song in the
while we were
heat
sweating
wave.
the heat.
Great.
Well, I suppose it's like anything you do, you're never really satisfied at the time.
No.
Yeah.
You're always a bit apprehensive about certain things, or you wish you could have done things differently.
Sure.
But it worked out the way,
Something
it was.
Fantastic.
Don's right, you know, nobody could relate to it then. And the very fact that it sounds magical on record only goes to show that you don't have to record a Christmas song at Christmas, because it won't necessarily sound Christmas. But what happened there is what Don said. It was hot. We were in an office block building singing Merry Christmas, and the people were coming to work in the morning, and we thought there were a bunch of lunatics singing Christmas.
And was it in the morning when you...
And I have to be honest with you, I wasn't sure it was going to be a particular hit either. But come November, December, I remember getting Oliver Twist with somebody on a bottle of champagne in a record company in Belgium, and this bloke was playing with it Merry Christmas, and it'd be at the beginning of December, and he was going, I tell you, this will be so big, this record, it'll be so big. And I was going, do you know, it sounds real good, mind you, it's because I'd had a few, but... and as the weeks went by and it started to get airplay, it really did sound big.
Yeah, but it was released.
Good.
It did
Yeah,
a million.
it
It took on its own momentum.
It did $1 million the first day of release.
Yeah, bloody incredible.
$1 million.
And as you know, it's 19, what are we now, 2004?
It's 31 years old.
Still
now.
talking about it?
Absolutely.
31 years old.
Absolutely. You've been friends for many years.
Yeah.
And I mean, it must be. Did you know each other before Slade, or?
Yeah.
Previous life?
We've known
In a previous, yeah, you can go way back if you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've known each other how long?
I was a frog in a period.
Well, I've heard about those
42
people.
years we've known each other.
Have you?
42 years. It was the same height then.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Susie Quattro, I reckon she knows me in a previous life, and
Yeah.
I
Probably
think
a
I must have been a musician. I started playing the lute.
What was the inspiration for your design of the Super Yob guitar? Because that's a super
inspiration.
I'll play drums, you better ask you.
I'll ask you a drum question in a minute.
Yeah.
Just,
Super Yob guitar actually came from the fact that I've got a Yob 1 number plate.
oh, on the Jensen.
Correct. And what happened was that people started to call people superstars in those days.
Yeah.
And just one day somebody picked up on this Yob plate and called me a Super Yob. And I had this inspiration to have a guitar made to go with my clothes.
Right.
And we called the guitar Super Yob because it was like a, I don't know, an ad-lib saying about me, you know. And it took on its own meaning, to be honest with you. And the Yob element, not necessarily, is a sort of, I try to explain this to the Americans, it's a street kid, it's a yobbie up north.
As opposed to all the NME.
It's not nasty
self-indulgent
people.
bands. That,
Do you know? And so the Super Yob took on its.
Because at the time there was a lot of Genesises, wasn't there? And not there's anything wrong with Genesis, but
You
it was
mean-
kind of,
You've said
you
it
kind
now,
of banished. You kind
Yeah.
of banished the
You
boss.
mean
didn't you?
long solos and pretentious music?
Twiddly
but-
Widdlies.
Yeah, the Twiddly. Genesis. Genesis wrote great music, but there were a lot of boring bands. Is
Yeah,
what you were talking
they
about.
were,
And,
yeah.
there were a lot of people up their own. What's it? So I think, and I think it was time for a change, and we came along to
Yeah.
make that change.
Absolutely. What do you think of some today's bands that create lots of excitement, such as the Darkness and?
Yeah, Darkness are good. They're going over old ground. I mean,
absolutely.
It's rewriting the same story, but they're having fun doing it, and it can't be bad for us because we were there before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if I was talking to the singer from Darkness, we'd have a good laugh because
yeah.
you know it's like when you go to a 70s show or something and you see people who weren't really old enough to even be there. They
Right.
dress up in peculiar wigs and put glitter clothes on.
Yeah.
They look like somebody out of a covers band.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, they're having a great night and they're thinking, well, they don't really understand the 70s, but they've got this idea it was fun.
Yeah.
And I think Darkness, you know, at least we've got one band coming out doing something like it. I mean, I'm not a big Darkness fan as such, but I did buy the album.
Oh.
And one or two of the songs I really liked, and some good guitaring on it. I'm not mad keen on the singer's voice; it slightly
Right.
annoys me. But on the other hand, I like the fun of them.
Yeah, they're good
I
fun.
do like Maroon. I believe they're called Maroon, is it? And I do like them. I think good song.
Maroon 5.
Maroon 5, really
yeah,
good.
they've just gone
I
platinum.
really like them,
Yeah.
and I like Keane,
Yeah.
and I
Good
like
song,
Oasis,
Keane.
and people like that. So Oasis doing "Come On Feel the Noise" was only a plus for us. There's always been a lot of bands into us. I mean, going back to the 80s bands, Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet, many groups were into our music and listening to our music. I met the Taylor bass player years and years ago in Solihull, and he was just in a New Romantics band saying he was going to try and make it.
Yeah.
And they were big fans of ours, and they did make it big too. And they're very
Absolutely,
good bands, you know.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
there are a few that I do like from the 80s, but there are many I don't.
Yeah. Do you like a lot of? What do you do? You
I
think of
like
bands?
Spandau Ballet. I went to see them a few times.
Oh,
I like
yeah,
the
yeah.
band,
Yeah, and the
I
nice
like- I like-
guys
I
as
like
well,
the-
aren't they?
Yeah, lovely. I
Oh,
like
there
the
was some-
Jam when they came out. I saw them in the
Oh,
tiny.
yeah.
Yeah, they were
I saw them in
Yeah.
the tiny club in Wolverhampton actually. Before they really became successful, and they're great.
Yeah.
band.
Great.
And Willard's voice has improved as he got older, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Good singer.
So, well, my next question was: are you aware of the massive influence you've and the foundations that you set for a lot of today's bands? Because
Well, I don't think
it's not only
we're
the,
daily
yeah.
conscious of it. I just think that
But it's not. What's happened is we don't realise until these bands tell us.
Yeah,
They
right.
say they used to come and see us or whatever,
Yeah.
gig or whatever, and they recorded certain things. You know, but like Oasis did "Come On Feel the Noise."
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
things like that. You
Yeah.
know. So
I mean,
it's a nice compliment.
It is, yeah, yeah.
Nice compliment.
I suppose it is really.
the thing is, life carries on with us. The older we seem to get, the more influences we seem to hear about. I mean, Don and I are
Absolutely.
58 years of age, and it's a bit like,
Are you?
bloody hell.
Oh.
If we'd have been, I don't know, 20 odd when we were first successful, and never thought we'd be even doing it now, you know. And albeit carrying on, I mean, it's me and Don the originals, as you know, and we're
Yeah,
carrying on
yeah.
without two other originals with
Yes.
us and doing a fine job
Yeah,
of it. You know,
yeah.
I think we're doing a fine job of it
Yeah.
because Don and I seem to have a reason to stay together to keep this sound going. You know, and the impact we seem to have in different countries in the world, Russia and East Bloc countries, is that we're reaching people who wouldn't have seen us in the 70s
Right.
and are pleased to see us in the form that we're in now. And it's a good thing. And it's also keeping us going.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind me asking, do you ever see Nod?
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
we keep in contact.
Oh, yeah.
On by
Oh, that's
telephone.
nice, yeah.
Because he lives in Manchester now, you see, so it's
Oh,
not
right.
very often actually sees
No,
him,
no.
but we keep in contact.
Oh,
No,
that's
if I could drag the
Oh,
brother
that's
on
lovely.
stage and make him sing My Oh My, I would, but he don't want to do it, you
No,
know, and that's the
no,
end of it, you know.
No, well,
I mean, I love him to bits, but he's doing what he's doing, you know, and
Sure.
he's a great singer, but he doesn't sing. You know, I wished he did.
apart from the obvious Christmas song, which is a legendary record now, is there another track that is your favourite single? Both of you?
But mine is probably Far, Far Away.
Is it?
Yeah, I like
from
that.
the film.
'Cause- yeah, well, if
Yeah.
you listen to the lyrics, it was the nod rather about all the touring we were doing.
Yeah.
And each part of the verses relate to different parts of the world.
So it's a nice memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
so-
good.
And mine is My Oh My. I think only because I specifically like it as one of our huge 80s hits, and as much as I love Come and Feel the Noise and all those songs, My Oh My has a kind of nice anthem-y feel about it. Bit of class.
It's almost like being in a stadium, that song, isn't it?
Correct.
It's just like...
That's what they call it in America, like a stadium,
great.
like a
Yeah.
stadium song.
Yeah. How was your brush with filmmaking with the film Slade? Did you enjoy it, or was
Boring.
Boring, really? Yeah,
Well,
there's a lot of
like
hanging
sort of
about,
like,
yeah.
Sort of like 2 minutes on film and
Yeah.
like 23 hours hanging around.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
worse than being in a rock band. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
talk about hanging around airports. I mean, God.
Yeah.
But I think we learnt a lot. By
Yeah.
making a movie, we know that if we're ever called upon to make another film again,
Yeah, you can
we
do
know
it.
a great deal about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Very much to say about that.
It's it's a good learning process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Oh, it certainly is. Some good bacon butties on the night shift.
And just to almost conclude, is there anything over the years that you would have done slightly differently?
I'm sure there are many
It was
things.
tomorrow. Because we've all got things that we think, oh God, I wish I'd done that.
But not fit for broadcasting.
I think you got it all right. you
Yeah,
know.
but I think really one can always write down the things that you've made mistakes about. I
It's all part of
I
learning,
think
though,
that,
isn't it?
yeah,
Things
I
like
think
that,
the thing in the journey for me and Donnie is that, you know, we were living it, we were doing it, we weren't analysing it. It's all very well being 50 odd and starting to work out this and that about what happened, or
Right.
did Chaz make the right decision, did we do this right,
Right.
or whether that. There have been mistakes made, but only when you're climbing up and you're going through it all. The reason it was as good as it was, I think, is because we were doing what we were doing and not analysing it.
Right.
If we'd have tried to work it out,
Yeah.
we probably never would have bloody made
And
it.
that's what a lot of it was about, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fun.
But it is.
Fun.
You're living it, you say.
Yeah.
When
Once
like
it-
Dave said, when you start to analyse these things, you come
Oh,
again.
God.
Well, it's like, you know,
I know.
the biggest mistake
Yeah.
is you write a hit single. My Oh My was written, the following year they were trying to write another one. And it doesn't work. It's only because you've been there. You can't write another
Right.
Christmas song. We've had many approaches, and when I've written a Christmas song, but I mean, when you've had the biggest,
Yeah.
you know, I don't
The
need to
biggest,
repeat
and
that.
it is
you
the
know.
biggest.
Well,
isn't
yeah,
it? It
I
is.
think it's set
It is.
behind White Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I
definitely.
mean,
Which is a
well,
nice,
it's more related to a younger market, doesn't it? You know,
It's great.
It's a Christmas song for this generation, this
Yeah.
several decades.
And it goes to all generations.
Yeah.
There's nobody on this planet
Well, that's
that doesn't
right.
like that
Well,
song.
To be perfectly honest, the granny on the front row
Yeah.
last night.
It's 30 odd years old. And
Oh,
it's
really?
Still strong,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That sort of says it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 odd
Well, I
years.
saw the granny on the front row, and I know what she was waiting for.
Yeah.
She didn't move all night until we did that song.
I think
Brilliant.
she was dead.
Excellent.
She was dead. That's him. I didn't say that.
And finally, the first, can you remember the first time you ever heard yourselves on the radio and you thought, oh, our record's on the radio?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
I do.
It's
Yeah.
like when
Oh, I
Kennedy
do.
was assassinated, you know where you were.
I think the most poignant time, and Don will probably remember this, we were all in the car, and I think we were on either Bloody John Peel or something. It was Get Down and Get With It anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
And we were in London, and
Right.
it's almost like you're in the capital, you're driving down the road, and your records gets played.
So we pulled over and listened.
And we just
Great.
pulled over,
Yeah.
and it was like,
And you just sat there and it's,
yeah,
it's
it was
on
like,
there.
yeah, it was like, quiet, nobody talk,
Right,
nobody talk
right.
for the 2 minutes it was on, you know. And what we hate is DJs when they start talking
Oh,
across
Christ,
it.
yeah.
The record didn't quite finish, and the DJ starts moving in it. Oh, bloody shut up. The end bit's the best. Oh, the end spoke over it.
Oh, that's mad. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Dave.
That's it.
Dave Hill, Don
Yes.
Powell,
Thank you.
thank you very
And to
much.
all you
Cheers.
watching and all that.
Shall we do the...
Keep on rocking.
Keep on
and,
rocking. Where are we?